From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Al-Taji. It's Friday, February 21st. Here are today's headlines. Arab states are hosting a summit in Riyadh today. It's understood to be an opportunity for Arab states, including Egypt, Jordan, and 6 members of the Gulf Cooperation Council, to agree on and present a unified counterproposal to President Donald Trump's plan for Gaza.
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace, and there's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it.
Trump has proposed a U.S. takeover of the enclave, effectively displacing over 2 million Palestinians. Egyptian sources revealed to The National earlier this week a preliminary version of the plan it will present at the summit. It envisions a reconstruction period of up to 5 years without the displacement of Palestinians. Sources told The National early discussions around funding involved the EU, as well as several Gulf nations. The summit was originally scheduled for Thursday and later postponed. The National's Hamza Hendawi reports.
The plan was drafted by Egyptian experts, but remarkably amended during the Riyadh meeting, according to sources who spoke to The National on Thursday.
It precedes a larger emergency summit with all 22 countries in the Arab League set for March 4th in Cairo.
That summit, which has been called by Palestine, is expected to produce a united pan-Arab position against President Trump's plans, which envisage the resettlement of Gaza's residents in Egypt and Jordan and a U.S. takeover of the enclave before turning it into what President Trump called the Riviera of the Middle East.
Meanwhile, Israel received the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages kidnapped by Hamas during its incursion on southern Israel on October 7, 2023. Egypt, Jordan, and mediators are striving to keep the ceasefire in place as negotiations for its second phase threaten to falter. Hear more about Egypt's proposed plan on today's episode of Beyond the Headlines, a podcast from The National's Foreign Desk. Christians in Jerusalem are fighting a new push by the city's municipality to pursue disputed taxes from the Armenian Patriarchate. Church leaders say it could jeopardize Christianity's entire presence in the region. The city's municipality has demanded the Patriarchate pay millions of dollars in disputed tax payments. Church leaders say it constitutes an attack that undermines freedom of religion in the Holy Land. They've traditionally been tax exempt. The National revealed that the head of the Armenian church in Jerusalem, Nurhan Manukyan, sent a letter to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu urging him to freeze legal proceedings by the municipality.
The issue of the municipal taxes for the Armenian Patriarchate in Jerusalem is not new.
The National's Thomas Helm reports.
In 2018, the municipality approached many of Jerusalem's churches for this money, and they put forward a very concerted, united effort to oppose that. What's different this time is that the municipality has gone after the Armenians in particular, and church officials who I met said that they believe this is an attempt to target the Armenians to set a precedent that can then be applied to all the churches.
It's a blow to the Patriarchate, which is one of Jerusalem's oldest, having survived 1,600 years in the turbulent city.
And many of these church leaders, including ones that head the most important churches in the world, are saying that if this precedent is set, it's not just a financial attack, but it's an attack on their ability to function as institutions. These institutions, for a number of years now, have said they're facing increasing hostility from aspects of Israeli society, particularly far-right, ultra-religious settler groups that target their properties. There have also been an increase in physical harassment, verbal harassment, spitting attacks against priests in Jerusalem.
Church officials hope the letter will push Netanyahu to intervene.
In general, the Christians in the Holy Land say that all these pressures are increasing at a time when they're already fighting the massive issue of demographic decline, because so many of the Holy Land's Christians are leaving because conditions are getting so much harder in the area for a number of reasons.
Syria is eyeing a way forward for the country's vastly fractured military factions. It's no small feat. Syria's new government seeks to merge rebel groups born of nearly 14 years of conflict into a united future army. But Syrian military figures say there's no guarantee. One source told The National, quote, "There is no full control of one side without the other. There is an overlap of powers," unquote.
Since the Assad regime fell in December 2024, the new authorities have faced the colossal challenge of integrating the panoply of rebel factions that existed in Syria previously into a new armed force, a new army.
Here's The National's Lizzie Porter.
This is proving to be a long-winded process and challenging. It's facing various challenges on various fronts. Some leaders of former rebel formations say that the new authorities in Damascus, led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, are sidelining former rebel leaders in favor of people who were close to them or loyalists. And the danger of that is, of course, if you sideline people who had significant roles in former rebel factions and prioritize loyalists, then you risk forming disgruntlement or dissatisfaction among fairly significant rebel formations that would affect the unity and ability to function of any future Syrian army. Another huge challenge is the integration of Kurdish militias in northeastern Syria who have historical claims to that area. Over the past decade and a bit, they have carved out an area of autonomous control. And in the past week, they have said that they too, like other rebel factions, will integrate into a future Syrian army. But Damascus has not announced that there is an agreement over that.
The challenge comes in an ever-changing environment surrounding the new Syria, including lingering sanctions from the days of the Assad regime and institutions in need of repair. That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get these stories at our site. Yasmin Al-Taji, The National.